Hey everybody, all you creative mentoring type of people, and anybody else that may be watching, that's just fine if you are. Um, I'm Nathan.Terry, and I'm going to show you guys something about adjustment layers in Photoshop today. And I'm starting off in Lightroom just to show you, to make you aware that Lightroom 2 was announced at Photoshop World, which, by the way, I was at in Orlando and had a lot of fun. I got to meet all the pro people like Scott Kilby and all those guys and stuff like that. It was fun. This is a photo I took, and it's not the one we're going to be working on, but I just wanted to show you anyway. And yeah, thanks again for the all the good feedback on that last video. So this is the one we'll probably be working on right here. And when I say probably, I mean we will. I'm gonna hit. You can hit Command E, which means it will be photo edit in Photoshop, and you can edit the original. You can do it like that, but since I'm not on the Windows platform, I'm just going to drag it right on here into Photoshop. I've actually tried to record this tutorial twice, and the first time Photoshop crashed, and the second time it was way too long. So I'm not going to go too hopefully not too long over, because it should only be 10 minutes, because if not, YouTube rejects it. Anyway, so let me just show you guys where you can find adjustment layers. And then I'll show you why you should use them and blah blah blah. Anyway, this is where you find them, right down here. As you see, it's kind of one of the only things visible right here when you first start out. It kind of has this little yin and yang thing going on, which is on. I don't know why I said that, like a New Year's year. But anyway, has this yin and yang thing going on. And when I click on it, you guys might see some things you're familiar with, like levels and curves and all this sorts of stuff. And then you're going to say, well, Nate, I think you're trying to, rip me off for something, because I already know where curves is. I know where levels is. And this isn't where levels is. So, whatever. But this is a totally different way of doing it, and it's going to be non-destructive, and it's going to be, it's just a better way of doing it. So, I'll show you how people may normally do this, which is going up under image adjustments and then coming down to let's say curves and messing with all this stuff. Oh, look, contrast, yay. So then you can save it, and that's what you get. You have this, and that's it. If you want to change it later, too bad. Okay, you're gonna have to go in there, redo it, and just do it slightly different, or whatever you want it to do, right? So that's the downside to this. We can't even, once I save this as a JPEG or even as a PSD, I cannot adjust that later. I can only maybe, like, since I haven't saved it yet, I can go back, but that doesn't help me really at all, right? So that's a destructive way, because we're actually changing how this image looks. We're changing how dark these pixels are and how light these pixels are, right? So we're going to do a little something. I'm going to Control Z, Command Z, and sometimes you have to go more than one step back, and you have to press down Command Alt Z, which is kind of silly, but Command Alt Z. And most of these things work with CS2 as well. So Photoshop CS2 also has adjustment layers, of course. So let's do the same thing. Grab my curves. Have my fun little contrast here. Right? Okay, same thing. So what's different? You say, Nathan, what's different about this? And I say, well, I can turn it on and off. And you say, well, that's fine, but I can do that because I can undo stuff. Well, let's just pretend like I was crazy. And if I undid it, I would just undo that, and I would have to go Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. But I'm going to Control Command Shift Z, which redoes that. So that's just saying I'm just saying that, yeah, of course you can always turn this on and off. That's a no-brainer kind of. So, but what's the advantage to this? The advantage to this is if I save it as a PSD, which is a Photoshop document, and PSD, you might wonder why you save things as PSDs, and that's because it can hold more than one layer. So basically, it would keep both of these two layers, the adjustment layer and the normal layer. So now look, I have this same. This is what I did before, right? With my curves, and guess what's going to happen if I mess with it? I can redo it, right? Cool, eh? So now, let's say I like that like this. You could say, okay, that looks good. And I'm not really saying that, but we could say that looks good. I can make, but here's what I'm going to show you. We talked about layer masking, right? So this has a layer mask, right? So I'm going to hit Command I, which inverts that, makes it black, because black conceals, white reveals. That's a rhyme I learned at Photoshop World. Anyway, that's just sad. So then I could grab my brush, of course, and painting with white, I could have an opacity of 100% by hitting O, I mean the 0 key, and paint in these adjustments, right? Cool. Neato. Alright. So, and now I'll update in a second. I just did. So now I can say, well, now that I know that, you know, whatever, I can redo this as many times as I like. The same goes for, that was just with curves. I'll show you, it goes for hue saturation, black and white. Black and white is a new thing in CS3. Brightness, contrast, color balance, all these things. Whenever I can do it through adjustment layer, I do it through adjustment layer because it is just a lot easier to be able to come back and redo stuff and not have to worry about that. So, like I said, do these, I mean, save them like this. Let's say blah blah blah. I can go like this. I can Command Shift S, save this as PSD on my desktop. It's actually gonna ask me because I already saved it before on my. I was trying to do it earlier. Okay, I'll say okay. I'm just gonna replace that. No. It's currently open. Oh, okay. Well, oh, that's weird. But it didn't want me to save that. But I'll just open up a, I'll just open the one on my desktop that I have already, actually. See, so this is one I did earlier, and now it doesn't want to do stuff because I got rid of the adjustment layer, actually. Okay, now I can save this on my desktop. Sorry about that. You know, these tutorials that I do, they're real, man. I'm real. I'm not like, you know, I know there's going to be problems with my computer and things are going to crash, man. I'm in the real world anyway. I hope you guys know when I'm joking, because if not, you know, you might think I'm crazy. But anyway, since I saved this, let's just say, okay, I did save, well, actually, I saved it as a PSD. So let's just say it's 6 months later. Flash forward 6 months. And I showed this to the person. I said, Nate, the clouds, I wanted them to be, you know, darker. All I have to do is come in here, grab it in Photoshop, and look. We have our adjustment layer again, and I can darken those clouds. So that's how we use these adjustment layers, because they don't harm our pixels, they don't change our pixels, they just change the way they look. And later on, we can save this as a JPEG, and it will flatten it, and we'll be able to print it, and all sorts of stuff like that. So I have been Nathan.Terry, and hey, you can even go over to Nathan.Terry.com works now, and I have like a one-page thing up there with some galleries and stuff. But you can, but you can check out some of the stuff I do over there. So yeah, adjustment layers, use them. basically. Use them whenever possible and save your things as a PSD so you can go back and change it later. That's what I hope you get from this. Anyway, take care. Bye.